We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India.
Students, today we will discuss about some important laboratory equipments, techniques and organic synthesis. So let's start with the laboratory equipments. In that first one is beakers. Beakers hold solids or liquids that will not release gases when reacted or are unlikely to splatter if stored or heated. Elmer flask. Elmer flask hold solids or liquids that may release gases during a reaction or that are unlikely to splatter if stored or heated. Fluorescence flask, rarely used in first year chemistry. It is used for the mixing of chemicals. Narrow neck prevents splash explosion. Graduated cylinders, they are generally used to measure uh, volumes of liquids. Gas collecting bottle, we use gas collecting bottles when large volumes of gases are produced and must be collected by the displacement of water. Test tubes, so generally test tubes have 3 different sizes. 13 into 100 millimeter test tubes are widely used. Test tube holders, generally they are employed for the holding the test tube which is too hot to handle. Test tube brushes, which are used to clean test tubes and graduated cylinders. Forcing a large brush into a small test tube will often break on end of the test tube. Racks are used for holding and organizing test tubes on the laboratory counter. Rubber stoppers, they are generally used to close containers to avoid spillage or contamination. Containers should never be heated when there is a stopper on a in place. Spot plates, which are used when we want to perform many small scale reactions at one time. We will use these many times during the year. Watch glasses, which are used to hold a small amount of solid such as product of a reaction. Glass stirrer rod, a glass rod is used to manually stir solutions. It can also be used to transfer a single drop of a solution. Medicinal droppers, which are used to transfer small volume of liquid. So there is an always rubber bubble on the top of that pipette, which is here black in color. Litmus papers, generally they are in two types. Red litmus paper is used to identify bases. Blue litmus paper is used to identify acids. Forceps, which are used to pick the small objects. Funnel, which is used to aid in the transfer of liquid from one vessel to another. More pipette, which is used to measure and deliver exact volume of liquids. Wash bottles, a wash bottle has a spout that delivers a wash solution to a specific area. Distilled water is the only liquid that should be used in the wash bottle. Weighing board, weighing boards are used to weigh solids that will be transferred to another vessel. Spatula, spatulas are used to dispense solid chemicals from their containers. Chemicals should never be transferred with your bare hands. Beaker tongs, beaker tongs are used to move beakers containing very hot solids or liquids. Bunsen burner, Bunsen burners are used for the heating of non-volatile liquids and solids. Evaporating dish, which is used for heating of stable solid compounds and elements. Crucible, which are used for heating certain solids, particularly metals, to very high temperatures. Clay triangle, which is used as a support for porcelain crucibles when being heated over a Bunsen burner. Crucible tongue, which are generally used to pick the other hot objects, uh, not to be used for picking beakers. Glass plates, uh, which are used to provide a surface for semi-microscale experiments such as drop reactions and testing of acids and bases. Triangular file, which are used primarily to cut a glass rod, a skill that your instruction will share with you when it becomes useful. Ring stands and their components, which are a safe and convenient way to perform the reactions that require heating using a Bunsen burner. Ring stands and their components, for example, iron rings, which are used to connect a ring stand, and it provide a stable elevated platform for the reaction. Ring stands and their components in that utility clamps, which are used to secure test tubes, distillation columns, and bureaus to the ring stand. Ring stands and their components in that double burette clamps, which are used to hold the graduated tubes used in titration. Wire gauze, which sits on the iron ring to provide a place to stand a beaker. On older wire gauze, the white material is asbestos. Pressed fiber pad, which is a 4x4 square matrix or a kind of ceramic fiber. It provides a surface for hot beakers so that the beaker does not come in contact with the cold countertop and shatter. Strikers, which are used to lighten Bunsen burners, and they are lighters too, and do not operate the striker uh, repeatedly just to see the sparks. So the triple beam balance is the most widely used common non-electrical balance to weigh the various compounds, beaker, and how it can be operated, handled, test tube, how it can be handled, safety goggles, test tube rack, beaker tongs, how it is operated or handled, water bottle, motor and piston, how it is handled, flint lighter or sparker, rubber stopper, that how we can place the rubber stopper on that Almir flask, thermometer, overflow can, scopula or spatula. Scopula is a different spot plate, petri dish, watch glass, pipette or dropper, which is widely used, Bunsen burner, wire gauze, uh, retort stand. Generally, the burner has to be on that retort stand to warm any kind of liquid. So, on further onwards, we will see about some of the techniques. So, here is the introduction for that. During your study of chemistry, you will be working in a laboratory setting to perform various experiments, and this is the case. Chemistry is the study of matter and the changes it undergoes. So technique number one is measuring the mass of a substance using the electronic balance. So this is the electronic balance, and here on the one side of that electronic balance, that is turn on and off button, and tare or zero button. So in the step 1 we have to turn on the balance and then tare or zero, holding or pressing this button. Second step will be place a weight board or paper on the pen of the balance. Third step will be re-zero the balance. Fourth step, in here one notice is that the balance is now subtracting the mass of the weighing board, so that in the step number 4 we have to begin with the addition of substances into the weighing board. Step number 5, stop adding the butter substance when you have reached the required amount. And step number 5, again the same thing. So ideal practicing is to obtain a specific mass of a chemical, zero the balance. These are the 5 steps. Technique number 2, that is measuring a specific volume of a liquid using a graduated cylinder. And here are some important points that lots of glassware can measure volumes. Graduated cylinders do it better than beakers and flasks. So whenever there is an accuracy required, then measuring cylinder of course has to be used. And here the step number 1 is using a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder, measure exactly 95 milliliters of distilled water, and then in step number 2 use the distilled water wash bottle to top off the level of water in the graduated cylinder to 95. And here the how the reading take place, here we have to consider the lower meniscus, that is the lower surface of that liquid, so that we can effectively measure the volume. At this point you should have a 0.50 grams of solid and sand in beaker and 95 ml of water measured. So we have to combine the water with the salt and sand, swirl until the salt dissolves. Now technique number 3, that is measuring temperature using a thermometer. In step number 1, submerge a thermometer into a mixture of salt, sand and water as far as possible without touching the beaker, and that is the main requirement. Now in that, for quick measurements you can hold the thermometer by hand or use a stand and clamp. Never allow a thermometer to rest in a beaker unsupported, it can tip over, and this is the most ideal requirement. Safety consideration in step 2, read the thermometer to the correct level of precision, in this case 20 degrees centigrade. Technique number 4, separation of mixture using filtration. In step 1, set up equipment as shown, a funnel supported by a ring stand, ring and triangle with a clean empty flask beneath. Step number 2 is obtain a piece of filter paper, and that filter paper has to be folded into the fits into the funnel. So first turn into the half, then again into the half again. Finally grab 3 of the 4 layers of the fold and pull them to one side, forming a cone. So how it is look like, and that place the paper cone into the funnel. Now prepare to decant the liquid into the funnel using a glass rod, and how the glass rod can be used with beaker that is shown over here. Now step number 6 is decanting. A technique that allows you to control exactly where the water pours into the funnel. Now in step number 7, to get all the sand into the filter paper, you may need to rinse the beaker with the distilled water wash bottle. Now we will get the success all the sands into the beaker paper, filter paper, and the salt and the salt water in the beaker below. Technique number 5 is the lighting and adjusting a Bunsen burner. So in step 1, gather the appropriate tools including goggles, Bunsen burner and striker. Step number 2, that is turn the gas valve onto the bottom of the Bunsen burner off clockwise, and turn the combustion column down clockwise. And here's a setup of valve on and off. This is the off position and this is the on position. Now open the gas valve on the bottom of the Bunsen burner and use a striker to light the gas. Turn the combustion column counterclockwise to increase the amount of oxygen. Flame gets blue in color, blue and hot, and this is the most essential requirement while heating any kind of solution. And here the student has to remember about the spot, what is part of the flame. Now if time allows, you can evaporate the water to separate it from the salt that we previously mixed. Now here we are moving towards the organic synthesis, some practical techniques. And in that in the planning, we have to consider the one question, that is my product a solid or liquid? For solid product synthesis, filtration, recrystallization and melting point, these four points has to be included. And these are the steps making separation, purification and checking purity. If the product is liquid, then separate the layers, dry the organic liquid and redistill. And these are the steps for that. Now first we will see about the solid products and their filtration. So an organic solids are formed as impure substances due to the incomplete reaction. They must be filtered, impure and purified later. Once a Buckner funnel is normally used to filter, action can be accelerated under reduced pressure. And this is the once Buckner funnel, how it look like, with all the tubings, and then on the downside that is an uh, one conical flask is there, and from the top of that Buckner funnel we have to add the our filter product solution, and through the vacuum it will collect into that conical flask. So further purification of solid is of course required, and there are various techniques for achieving these. So we have to adjust to the specification. So whenever the recrystallization is there, then in the starting phase the product is not pure, impurities are red. So we have to heat the solution to dissolve both product and impurities. When solution cools down, product crystallizes out and impurities gets left behind. So this is the impurities, and desired product will have different solubility in the same solvent. So dissolve the impure solid in a minimum amount of hot solvent, so that it will dissolve into the hot solvent. And so we have to increase the amount of solvent, and so that it will get solubilized. So here the another filtration technique is a hot filtration, where the hot solution is filtered to remove any undissolved impure solid. This may reduce yield but improve purity. So after that the filtration take place, how it does look like over here. We have to use the filter paper, and that hot solution has to be poured on the top of that to filter out the compounds. We can use a Buckner funnel to and how it is look like with the vacuum pump, and after that we will get the product out of that. So here the how the product is look like needle shape crystal aspirin indicates the high purity. So if we are getting the uh, crystals in the Konica Elmer flask, then we can say that the product is in high quality. Now we have to check the purity of the solid and through the melting point, and here we have to use the capillary. In that small sample of the solid has to be filled out, and the melting point apparatus contains a lens which magnifies the viewer see, and this is how it look like. So by viewing the thermometer and watching the solid carefully, we can measure when the solid turns to the liquid. This will generally occur over a range of temperatures, so melting point should be reported in the range. And this is the Thale tube for measuring the melting point. Instead of a melting point apparatus, we can use the Thale tube also. And is similar, but this time heated oil is used. So even in a power cut, you can get the candles out and carry on. Separating your liquid mixtures. So in case of the liquid products, we have to separate the two layers, aqueous and organic. Which way around they are depends on the organic liquid's density. So first we have to add the water and shake it well, and inorganic impurity will be washed out because they are soluble into the water. We often wash the mixtures to get rid of unused aqueous reagents or impurities from earlier in the synthetic process. Ventilating allows the mixture to release gases from the shaking. A drying agent such as anhydrous salt will have a natural affinity for water, so we can we can trap the water inside the drying reagent. Further purification that at this point we have the dry the liquid chemically, and if acids are used in the synthetic process, we could add a solid carbonate to react with them prior to drying. This would produce fizzing as carbon dioxide gas is made, and when fizzing dies out down, the acid is reacted. Now the mixture can be filtered and redistilled. Further purification is again distillation is required, and distillation will separate the desired product at a given boiling point using a reflux condenser set horizontally at a slide angle. So here some typical illustrations are there that how the wall assembly is set down. Other functional groups and maps are there. These are the functional group. So practical techniques in organic synthesis requires distillation and refluxing. These are some tools that how we can make the wall assembly, like from round bottom flask, refluxing column, separating funnel. The joints between the glassware components are used grease to create a vapor proof seal. So here the how it is done, the joints are usually sealed with the grease, so no more leakage will be there. These are the purification techniques for the solids using the funnel, normal funnel and Bunsen Buckner funnel. So this is some real example of the synthesis of the thing. So when the before after completion of synthesis, the how the benzene is look like, and after distillation, this is the assembly for the synthesis of benzene. And after distillation, we have to again uh, wash means wash with the water, and after washing and addition of drying agent, the somewhat the solution of benzene or the product of that benzene is somewhat transparent, will become some transparent, yellowish orange type. And after further distillation, we can get that on the one round bottom flask or residues remain, and on the other we can get the transparent clean benzene, and that is the product which has a high purity. We will see about the reaction synthesis of nitrobenzene, and here are some chemicals which are used: sulfuric acid, nitric acid, benzene, and magnesium sulfate anhydrous. And how we can pour it into the round bottom flask, and the reaction temperature is very low, and here is how refluxing can be done. After some time, the reaction will occur, and yellowish it will become the yellowish kind of solution. So this is the reactions take place for the nitrobenzene. And here one thing is there, the benzaldehyde has an almond like aroma, and which is very crucial. And after end of that, how we further with the use of again redistillation, and after redistillation we will get that product nitrobenzene. This is the reaction for that reaction mechanism. We can also obtain that dinitrobenzene in meta and para position. So these are the impurities for the nitrobenzene. And finally we will get that 64% maximum allowable yield is there. And here we can see nitrobenzene is not transparent. Transparent is that, but type of yellowish transparent liquid is there, and that is the most essential. And before that, it will look like that, but after redistillation, it will become transparent yellowish fluid. Thank you. This is the end of the lecture.